So this op-ed just dropped by a psychologist working with Israeli occupation soldiers and a mental health reservist. And he focuses on the mental health impacts to the soldiers, how genocide is affecting the genocidaires. Central thesis is on the moral injury being done to the soldiers, blowing up entire Palestinian families and committing mass murder, because they're the true victims here. Now, this piece doesn't say that the army is bad. No, this is a classic case of arguing that there are bad apples and good apples, and the bad apples are trying to corrupt the good apples. The piece breaks down soldiers into categories from callous to incorruptible, as if serving in this genocidal force doesn't already mark you as morally corrupted. But I don't even want to talk about that. I want to talk about the atrocities that these soldiers admit to, and I want to talk about the fact that this is a piece published in Haaretz. This is not a radical, left-wing, anti-Zionist publication. So that means that what you're reading is already filtered. It's already censored. If this is a spectrum of violence from the least violent to the most violent, you're not getting beyond right here. This is just scraping the fucking surface of the violence that these people have committed. The person writing this op-ed, the person editing this op-ed, everybody involved in the production of this op-ed is a Zionist that believes that the Israeli occupation forces are doing something morally just, that they have the right to be in Gaza, committing these acts of violence. So understand that when you're reading this. Or I guess listening, because I'm about to read the quotes to you so you don't have to bother with this garbage op-ed. The power they received in the army was intoxicating. Quote, "It's like a drug. You feel like you are the law, you make the rules, as if from the moment you leave the place called Israel and enter the Gaza Strip, you are God. They viewed brutality as an expression of strength and masculinity. I have no problem with women. One threw a slipper at me, so I gave her a kick here," pointing to the groin, "broke all this here. She can't have children today." X shot an Arab 4 times in the back and got away with a self-defense claim. 4 bullets in the back from a distance of 10 meters. Cold-blooded murder. We did things like that every day. An Arab just walked down the street, about 25 years old, didn't throw a stone, nothing. Bang, a bullet in the stomach. Shot him in the stomach and he was dying on the sidewalk and we drove away indifferently. This is where he starts talking about the moral injuries. I felt like a Nazi. It looked exactly like we were actually the Nazis and they were the Jews. I wonder fucking why. Here's another particularly heinous quote. A new commander came to us. We went out with him on the first patrol at 6 in the morning. He stops. There's not a soul in the streets, just a little 4-year-old boy playing in the sand in his yard. The commander suddenly starts running, grabs the boy, and breaks his arm at the elbow and his leg here. Sorry. Stepped on his stomach 3 times and left. We all stood there with our mouths open, looking at him in shock. I asked the commander, "What's your story?" He told me these kids need to be killed from the day they are born. When a commander does that, it becomes legit. What I want you to note about this is that there's all these claims about indiscriminate killing of children. This is not indiscriminate. This is very purposeful. This is targeted. They are targeting children. At a funeral of a soldier who was killed in Lebanon, members of his military unit recounted how he boosted morale in Gaza by setting a home on fire without approval. They professed their commitment to continue with arson and revenge in Gaza, Lebanon, and the West Bank. And in addition to that arson that he had committed, he killed a 40-year-old Palestinian who was harvesting olives with his children in the West Bank. And this is a man who was lauded by his peers. These quotes are about the camp where soldiers are torturing Palestinians and murdering them sadistically. I saw sadistic people there, people who enjoy causing suffering to others. What was most disturbing was to see how easily and quickly ordinary people can detach themselves and not see the reality right in front of their eyes when they are in a difficult and shocking human situation. Similarly, a reservist doctor stated, "There is total dehumanization here. You don't really treat them as if they are human beings. In retrospect, the hardest thing for me is what I felt, or actually what I didn't feel when I was there. It bothers me that it didn't bother me. There is normalization of the process, and at some point, it just stops bothering." Mind you, this is about literal torture of civilians, including doctors, nurses, children. I want to once again stress that this op-ed is still Zionist garbage. This person presents us with all of these quotes and then says that the war crimes in Gaza and this torture camp need to be seen within the larger context. Trying to cape for genocide, even as he talks about the moral injury to the soldiers, to the genocidaires. I'm reading this from an archive link so as to not give it clicks, but just so you know, even these people who want to talk about morality are Zionist scum. This is a genocide apologist through and through. Zionists are willing to confess and let you know about these crimes in a Zionist publication. I promise you the things that are happening day to day are a million times fucking worse.